As it's our usual tradition on Breakfast Central, we start up with what we've coined the wake-up conversations. You know, the gist that you must have missed after the 9 o'clock news last night and you went to bed. So we wake you up with this, with what you missed, so you don't miss anything. So we keep you informed all the way throughout the day here on News Central. So we'll start off with something quite unique and ambitious, I must say. And
Very.
As always, it's generated mixed reviews and a lot of controversy. My dear Olive here wanted to be a sprinter when she was growing up, but that ambition didn't last long. Yeah, she might have the physique of a sports star.
Well, I may not be able to run physically, but I can run into conclusions now.
Wow, I like that.
Well,
best in running into conclusions,
thank
so
you
please
so
conclude
much.
this gist for us.
Okay, so since let's run into the conclusion of the gist. The gist is that Nigeria is bidding to host the Commonwealth 2030 Games. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has said that this dream should come true, proposing that this be held in Abuja, and we're competing against India. Look at his tweet. He says, "To the Commonwealth family, it is time for Africa. After 100 years of the Commonwealth Games, they have never been hosted on African soil. By bringing the Commonwealth Centenary Games to Nigeria in 2030, you will send a powerful message that every region of the Commonwealth matters, and that Africa is not only a part of the story, but central to its future. Nigeria is the gateway, Africa is the stage, the Commonwealth is the family. Let us make history together in 2030. Let us complete the circle of Commonwealth unity. This dream must be realized. The time is now." First of all, I must applaud the tweets, whoever put out the tweet. I think it was very beautifully worded. I think it's very powerful. It feels like saying, "Ode to Nigeria at the Commonwealth Games." That's what it feels like. It had so much, the coinage, the way in which the words were constructed, I think was beautifully, written to show Africa is the gate. Africa is the. Please let's put that again. Let's put that tweet up again. It says something about Africa.
Misquote the president.
Exactly. Africa is the stage. Nigeria is the gateway. I really loved that line. So at the end of the day, it's like we're looking at the broader picture, being Africa here, being able to host the Commonwealth, but Nigeria is just an opening into this stage.
Yes, I believe there was a beat video that accompanied this. It's a 3-minute long video. I'm not sure if we have it. And even if we have it, we can't take the entire 3 minutes. And, the FCT minister spoke on why the Commonwealth Games should come to Nigeria. Mr. President spoke. The Lagos State governor, I did speak, because there are certain sports like rowing and and beach volleyball that would be played in Lagos if we get the hosting rights. And it's not just any type of Commonwealth Games. It's the centenary edition, the 100th Commonwealth Games. If you recall, the first Commonwealth Games were held in a place called Hamilton in Canada. So we will be going up against, there are other countries, because for Nigerians saying it's not a done deal yet, we're bidding. Bidding is like entering into a competition where the Commonwealth organizers will then look at facilities, look at security, look at preparedness, and just look at your bidding document to see who has the best, and then they put it to a vote before deciding what city gets the hosting rights for the 2030 Commonwealth Games.
Speaking of city,
it's a tall order.
It really is a tall order. We've put in for Abuja to be the host city, while Ahmedabad in India has put forward Ahmedabad.
Am I that bad?
Am I that bad?
Yeah.
Yes, to be the host for India. They're also lobbying for it. The dignitaries and delegates were also here in Nigeria to have a look, and I did see
look at the facilities.
Exactly. I see that they were received. The Commonwealth Sports Bid Evaluation Committee, they were received last Thursday in Abuja, and they were received by the president, represented by the chief of staff. You can see him here at the Aso Rock Villa in Abuja. The Nigerian delegation, led by the chairman of the National Sports Commission, Shehu Diko, and Director General Bukola Olopade, emphasized that the bid was an opportunity to foster a shared legacy, for us as a continent, and it epitomizes the Commonwealth spirit. Again,
2030 is 5 years from now.
Yes.
So if we don't even have the facilities, you could still put a lot together.
The last time that we held a multi-sporting event was the African Games in 2003.
Under President Obasanjo.
Yes. So we're pushing for this bid. And if you look at a comparison between us and the companies that have hosted the Commonwealth in the past years.
The countries.
Yes. So England hosted the last one in 2022, Birmingham. 2018, Gold Coast, Australia. 2014, Glasgow, Scotland. Then India hosted last in 2010. They're also bidding to host in 2030. Australia, Melbourne, 2006, and England again hosted Manchester in 2002. And then Malaysia, 1998, Kuala Lumpur was noted as the first games in Asia. So Nigeria is looking to host 2030. Now, before we share our thoughts, let's look at what the Sports Commission has to say about this as well.
So at the end of the day, it's about wealth creation, right? So what kind of wealth are we talking about? That's what we call the sport wealth, right? We create sport wealth by hosting, which means we get opportunity to our sportsmen to compete against the world and train against the world, and they see what is happening, they can develop to do that. There is what we call the diplomatic wealth, because sports is also a diplomatic tool. We can use that tool to bring the Commonwealth together and then bring Nigeria to the global family, clean up the image of Nigeria, and then create more synergy between Nigeria and the Commonwealth and other countries. Many people will come in here and they will go back with a different mindset. This country is different to do that. That's what we call the economic world itself, because throughout the games, the events, the value-added services, the media, what have you, that you need to have around the game, the building of the game, of scaling of the infrastructure that you need to do, they are creating jobs. The common man will benefit. And then some people, is from that process, they will get a lot of resources that they will now be able to set up and have the capital to start a business. And by the time you have thousands and thousands of people coming in globally into the country, bringing in dollars and stuff like that, that they spend here, it's all economic activities around it that will create value added. Even the small, for example, the National Sport Festival we did in this year in Abeokuta, we brought in 20,000 people there, about, or 15,000 above, with the athletes and the fans and everything. That would have went to Abeokuta. Imagine the economic activities. After the games, many people were crying. They don't want the game to finish because the economic activity have already benefited. Even the seller of granola have benefited. So that's the benefit that will come. That is what we call the cultural wealth as well, because several cultures will come together and advance, and they will appreciate our culture, will appreciate their culture, and then we'll be able to sell what we can, who we are, what we are, and bring more inclusion, more diversity to people, and more benefit, which make people more productivity at the end of the day. That will also happen. Yes, of course, the social wealth is there as well, because sport is about the social activities as well. It brings everybody together, makes everybody happy, more productivity, and what have you. And then it gives the country what we call the soft power. Globally, everybody will start respecting Nigeria. Even the competition we are hosted internationally within this year, as a test run to what we are trying to do, you can see the benefits that have come to Nigeria.
All right. So when we think about the possibility of Nigeria hosting the Commonwealth Games in 2030, you can think of several advantages as well as disadvantages. I'd like to start with the good news first. The advantages will be that we have a young teeming population that's interested in sports, and this will be a great avenue to drive conversation about sports, drive participation, and inspire a new set of sporting athletes to, to want to be a part of the game. So I think that that's a great advantage. I also think that it also helps with our branding as a country, placing us in a certain light in the international scene. I think it's also an avenue to increase tourism, boost revenue generation, because people are going to be bringing FX into the country. So we're going to see the potential of a lot of FDIs, foreign direct investments, could be best from there. There are people who would come there and forge partnerships as a result of their visit to Nigeria. So yes, there are a lot of advantages in terms of tourism. I did mention that hospitality sector would benefit greatly from this, our hotels, the airports, and then there's the infrastructural angle to this, because for the country to be able to host the Commonwealth Games, there are certain infrastructures that will be worked on, or certain infrastructure that will be worked on in terms of roads, airports, the stadiums, and this is a benefit to us, because not like after the Commonwealth Games, they will take this infrastructure with them. However, the downside to it would be that a number of these, when we start to make provision for the the crowd that the Commonwealth will bring? What happens when they leave? What plan is there for the infrastructure to be used, or would it just become some white elephant?
Fantastic question. You look at the now recently christened Moshood Abiola National Stadium in Abuja. It was built under the administration of former President Olusegun Obasanjo to host the All-African Games in 2003, like you mentioned. You need to look at the state of that facility now. It's a shadow. Dilapidated. And that's just on a smaller scale, all African Games. Now you want to host the entire Commonwealth. What will happen to these facilities after? Senate President, when he was governor of Akwa Ibom State, built a world-class hospital in Akwa Ibom.
What has happened to that hospital?
Go and look at that hospital. Is our maintenance culture going to change overnight, or should we set our priorities to, tangible things and more immediate needs that we could take care of, healthcare and education? Because you need to see the state of it. I saw a video of a primary school in the southwestern part of Nigeria yesterday. Children were, bailing out water from their classrooms. So something is
that a priority?
Exactly, it should be priority. Stop looking at
beyond the infrastructure that may not be used after these Commonwealth Games. There are several other disadvantages that come to mind as well. There's also the fact that there's a potential for people who are going to carry out contracts in that period. Corruption might be, fostered.
We can't even afford it.
And that's why we're listening ahead. Yes. So that's why I'm listening to all the disadvantages. There's also the financial burden. And even if we have a budget and the budget looks feasible, chances that budget will be overrun it's very high. So we're complaining about the fact that we don't have money. So that's the corruption part, the inflation of the budget. And then, there's also the issue of insecurity. We cannot deny the fact that we are still battling insecurity. How can we guarantee the security of every single person that comes in for the Commonwealth Games? Because it's not a good look for our country if these people come to attend the Commonwealth Games here and we're hearing that kidnappers are demanding ransom for one or two persons. So these are the merits and the demerits. And we must then put both the merits and the demerits on a scale and see which one outweighs.
But let's hear what Nigerians are saying. It's not
our. So we've just given you what the merits are, what the demerits are, but let's see what Nigerians are leaning more towards.
Yomi Kuku says, Your Excellency, sir, I totally agree with your vision for an African nation to host Commonwealth Games for the first time. However, I pray that you use your good office to ask for the impact report of the outcome of Culture 03 before committing the hard-earned resources of Nigeria into this venture, sir.
So in case you're wondering what Culture 03 is, the All Africa Games, which was hosted in Nigeria, in Abuja in 2003.
Yeah.
All right, a bold appeal, but the real test is whether Nigeria can guarantee security, infrastructure and organizational competence to pull off a global event of this scale. Hosting the games here will be historic, but without deep reforms and clear delivery plans, it risks becoming another expensive missed opportunity. Very, very fantastic.
I think we should wait till 2029 and see how we fared as a country and see if we could take up this burden. Shegun says, you don't invite people to your house when it stinks and is full of all sorts of diseases and issues. Put your house in order first. Fix the issues: insecurity, healthcare, education, unemployment, infrastructure, electricity, etc. before you think of inviting Commonwealth nations.
I like how you first said Shegun and then realized what was going on here. I say Shegun.
Shegun, exactly. What's Shegun?
Preacher Dame says, we'll read more about the benefits of hosting Commonwealth, but one thing is sure. It's expensive, and most countries that did recorded a financial loss. I know it's an opportunity to display the country to the world, but are we currently in a level that can be portrayed positively?
Food for thought. If you've not had breakfast, that's why you're on Breakfast Central. So we serve you food for
dry
thoughts.
Jokes, Lomo. Other countries make gains by hosting international events, but in Nigeria we count our losses always. Take Nigeria 99, for example. Who I remember? Do you remember it?
Yes,
welcome to Nigeria 99. Welcome.
You are an elderly person, and I'm using Gen Z to look at you. You are quite mature in age.
No, I just have a retentive memory. I can sing that song from beginning to end.
Even the Yoruba.
That was T.Y. Bello, I think, was it them?
Even, I think,
Okay.
Good times.
Good times. Let's go back to
You
the
see,
tweets.
we gained
You
something.
see? At least we remember the song.
Yeah.
Let's go back to the Africa 99 tweets. Sorry, we hadn't... Nigeria 99 tweets. That was the one before this tweets.
DJ, please rewind.
All right, our DJ no. Okay, yes. Yeah. Take Nigeria 99 for example. No game was recorded. How can you say no game was recorded? Remember the song? Let's use the money to fight insecurity and hunger instead. Uzomachi says. All right. The next tweet says, my president is working. Peter, we no go see this one now. I appreciate my president. Now error you go define always.
You know, quite a number of people misconstrue the fact that you're bidding as that
you've gotten it already. Exactly.
It's a bid. And we also need to factor in that we're competing against other cities.
India has put in their bid as well.
I mean, some of these cities are first world nations. So maybe like the way South Africa got the World Cup. And it's not just because they got it based on merit. It was a fantastic showpiece. It put Africa on the world map, the 2010 World Cup. And they prepared for it. They had the facilities. We didn't have any untoward incidents during the 2010 World Cup. So shout out to South Africa. So maybe, and that's what we're doing, because if you go facilities to facility, infrastructure for infrastructure, the chances of getting it will be very slim. So we're using that sentiment of, you know, the Commonwealth centenary, 100 years of the Commonwealth Games has never been to Africa. So maybe they might consider us this time around, but we have to put our house in order.
And now, if we imagine that we get that, and then after getting it, a lot of people will now go and invest in building hotels and all that. Much later, when all this is gone, who is going to be in that hotel?
So that's why it should be organic. Yeah, let's put our country in a viable position first before bidding for this sort of things.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's, final tweet says, we don't need to host any Commonwealth Games. Allow or create an enabling atmosphere for Nigerians to create wealth and enjoy the commonwealth of the country. Ooh, I see what you did there. Nigeria can't be subsidizing the lives of politicians while the masses starve. Let the poor breathe, sir, with all due respect. Anyway, let's move down to our next conversation. And this time, we're exploring a major issue that has destabilized lots of individuals and businesses within the Lagos metropolis in the past, say, 48 hours. The Lagos flood crisis has deepened as heavy downpour enters day 2. Yesterday, Tuesday, was the second day of the heavy downpour. And as you can see, this is definitely an estate in Lekki. And it looks like a very familiar estate.
Just imagine the quality of that water.
All right.
Wastewater, sewage water, all mixing together. It's so irish.
Very, very uncomfortable situation. There are people who had to leave their houses because they knew that if they had stayed any longer and the flood had persisted, the rain had persisted, that they would not be able to leave their houses. They'll be trapped in their houses. I saw a video of somebody who had to be carried on her back to leave her house. But the flood situation hasn't been the most comfortable for a number of people.
And the Lagos state government is aware of this, and they're not just, I mean, they of course they observe, they see all those videos. And the Commissioner for Environment, Honorable Tokunbo Wahab, did put up a very empathetic tweet appealing to Lagosians and, you know, just giving the position and the side of the government. Let's take that before we continue with our analysis.
All right, so the tweet of Tokunbo Wahab talking about the flood and appealing to Lagosians, if we can please put that up.
Yes, Honorable Tokunbo Wahab, the Commissioner for Environment, says, "Dear Lagosians, we sincerely sympathize with all residents who were affected by the flash floods witnessed in parts of the state yesterday. We understand the discomfort and disruption it caused, and we deeply empathize with those who were affected. As a coastal city, Lagos is naturally vulnerable to flooding, especially during periods of heavy rainfall combined with tidal lock. Despite this, the state government has continued to invest in drainage infrastructure, regular desilting, and enforcement of environmental laws to minimize flooding incidents and protect lives and property. We must also provide clarity on some of the affected areas. At Kunsela, the challenge is technical. The downstream is about 1.2 meters higher than the invert of the existing drainage, as confirmed by the survey conducted for the ongoing project awarded by the state government at the end of Kunsela Road, which includes a pumping station around the House on the Rock Church. The flooding was linked to infractions we highlighted earlier: illegal construction and floodplains.
Who approved this illegal
of
construction?
Refuse and drains. Brilliant question. These kinds of activities worsen flooding and must stop. We appeal for understanding and continued cooperation from the public, keeping our environment clean, refraining from dumping refuse into drains, and avoiding construction and floodplains are vital to achieving a flood-free Lagos. In several of the videos shared yesterday, clear infractions were observed, and Lagos State government will ensure that such illegal structures and obstructions are properly removed, including those illegal reclamations carried out without the requisite environmental impact assessment report and the drainage clearance. We also wish to assure residents that the flooding was a flash flood in some parts of the state and has since receded this morning. The ministry remains committed to strengthening our flood management systems, but this effort requires the support and responsible actions of all Lagosians. Together, we can build a safer, cleaner, and more resilient Lagos. Signed, Honorable Tokunbo Wahab, Commissioner of Environment, Lagos State Government. So there you have it, the government's side of the story's explanation of what happened in the last 2 days.
But the man actually responded to the Honorable Commissioner, and let's see what this man had said in response to Honorable Tokunbo Wahab. Now, in his tweet, he says, "Dear Honorable Commissioner, sir, thank you for always communicating openly with Lagosians and for the visible efforts to improve our commitment." I think I lost that.
Communicating openly.
To improve our environment and flood management systems. It shows commitment and accountability, which we truly appreciate. While we acknowledge the technical and human challenges you highlighted, may I humbly suggest a mix of immediate and long-term measures that can complement the good work already being done. 1. So he said the immediate short-term suggestions. 1, deploy mobile pumping units to quickly drain critical flash flood hotspots while permanent stations are being completed. And we spoke about this yesterday. A number of, for example, houses on the island have invested in the pumping, but that what effort is it?
So where do you pump?
Exactly. All the people within the estate are pumping. They are pumping to the express.
They must be very pompous.
2, intensify community-based sensitization, not just through media, but also via CDAs, religious houses, and schools to stop dumping refuse in drains. I think they've been doing this, but they can amplify it further. Activate a rapid response task force that clears blocked drainage points immediately after heavy rainfall. Absolutely. We also did talk about this, that what is our emergency response to flooding? 4, ensure dirt and debris removed from drainage channels are evacuated promptly to avoid them being washed back into the drains. And this is a key point, because you see oftentimes when people do this environmental sanitation, they clear the gutters, they will then allow it to pile up somewhere.
They put the silt just in
beside,
front of the side
because
of the
it then defeats the purpose of what you've done. Because when it rains, it will wash everything back.
You need to clear it up immediately.
5, launch an operation, ensure your drainage is clear campaign, requiring every household to keep their frontage drainage clean with stiff sanctions for defaulters. Now, the long-term suggestions. 1, expand the use of pumping stations and introduce smart flood monitoring technology, sensors, early warning alerts for at-risk communities. 2, strengthen enforcement by linking construction approvals with strict environmental clearance to deter illegal structures on floodplains. And I think this is a major challenge, because even till now, there's still a lot of quote-unquote illegal structures that are being mounted, right? So this is a major challenge that the current administration is still dealing with. 3, apply stiffer sanctions for illegal dumping, reclamations, or construction on floodplains to serve as strong deterrents. 4, partner with the private sector for sustainable waste management innovations, including recycling hubs that reduce the amount of waste entering drains. And I completely agree with this. As the world is going green and the innovation is happening, I mean, in the West, in certain countries, you can't just dispose of your waste anyhow.
Exactly.
You separate your plastic waste, your reusable or recyclable waste from the very organic waste. So it will be great for us. Yes, we may not get there in a year or 2, but at least to start the drive.
The work needs to start now, and they need to be strict on enforcement.
Absolutely.
And we also have this way of, when the danger is not clear and immediate, we just go back to sleep and relax. Because when the dry season is here,
everybody moves on.
The problem is not immediate, and people are renting houses in Lekki. Everybody's happy. The agents are showing you houses. You forget that you have
a flood
problem.
Do you know
until
that
it comes? And the best time to work and put on all this infrastructure is during the dry season.
Haven't you realized that sometimes it's even just before the rainy season that they start running helter-skelter to fix roads and fix bridges, and we're wondering, like, you can see that it's been dry. You had all this time to work on the road. You didn't work on the road. It's not during almost at the rainy season that we're seeing.
And another thing we need to also invest in is the quality of our roads. If you look at the Lekki-Epe Express Road, it's in shambles. But the new modern type of roads that they're fixing now, like the Epe, the Dangote refinery, the Lekki, Ibeju-Lekki, it's concrete, and you can see the thickness of the concrete. I think it's better to just spend that money, do it once, so you don't have to do repair works every few months. Because
I agree.
What you're seeing on the Lekki-Epe road now, if you think, let the rain stop, you'll see that it's almost like it's washed up all the makeup, and there are potholes everywhere. It's in a terrible state. Really terrible state.
But what are the causes of floods, and how can we mitigate the harsh impact of these floods on us as a society? Just to quickly land on that, the rapid urbanization of Lagos. Structures are coming up every other day, and it doesn't feel like, for some of them, that there's proper, they've gotten the proper approvals. And when we talk about the environmental impact assessment being carried out on before certain constructions or deconstructions are being carried out, we don't know how well that works.
I also want to applaud the Lagos state government for, taking responsibility and, being forthright in their communication, because some defenders of the government have come up with, because there's a typhoon in China, didn't you see what happened in China? It's an act of God. I saw that. Yeah, please, we don't need that.
Well, even before we start to talk about the act of God, they also have notice and plans to say, okay, this is going to happen, and this is how we intend to protect our citizens.
And in China, there was a part where they evacuated over 1 million citizens because of this. Talk about proactiveness.
Well, but let's see what Nigerians are saying on X, as always, regarding the flooding in Lagos. There's also conversation about VDM talking to his followers on patriotic cleanup nationwide. But let's take some of these reactions. Madam Survivor says, my heart goes out to all the people that are spending their hard-earned money on car repairs and house repairs at such a difficult time in Nigeria, with school fees and other bills pending. The many who were stressed yesterday, praying that their cars don't break down as the water entered their cars up to their knees, and to the many whose cars broke down. The many that got home past 12 a.m. yesterday. The APC Lagos have tried their best for over 20 years. Every year, they give you a different excuse. They have tried, they have failed. It is time to try something different. You deserve better, you can have better. Hashtag our Lagos. That's by Badabaro Survivor. 1.2 trillion naira IGR yearly, and you cannot fix drainage.
Food for thought. Yeah, it's not just a drainage problem. You can't fix drainage, you can't fix street lights. Lots of your roads are pothole ridden. So, you keep boasting about generating revenue. These are very critical and, very poignant questions that Lagos taxpayers are asking. Why? Chidi
Andrew says, the health hazard, business premises ruined, house on rocks became house in sea, ground floor apartment dwellers became aquatic animals. The need for canoe as transportation means is heart-wrenching. It's not even funny, because honestly, people needed to move around, and a canoe would have been better. Lagos doesn't experience much rain for this kind of flooding. The average rainfall in Lagos has dropped drastically in the last 5 years. Yet, when it rains, it pours. The citizens have a role to play, but government displacement of water body while having poor drainage system is the cause.
Engineer.
Lagos fails to plan and enforce, and it's the effect of not planning that we are seeing today, and it's going to get worse. You'll ask yourself, what is actually the reason why landed property and rent is so expensive on the island? No reason at all. That person who was talking about the penultimate, okay, let's go through the tweets. If something drastic is not done to address the Lagos flood by next year, we'll not only be reporting flood alone, but there will be unprecedented casualties recorded. I really hope we don't get to the point. This should be treated as an emergency by the government, according to Joshua Imo. Do we have more tweets, or is that a wrap? All right. I saw the tweet of someone says blaming Lagos State, and I remembered when the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway was being established, and there were talks of demolition. And I remember a journalist, Leila Johnson Salami, asking the Honorable Minister if they had carried out an environmental impact assessment, which he had said, oh yes, they will give to her. And I don't think she ever got it. So that's the thing that I've seen. You know, it's a question that easily comes to mind. With the speed with which we are urbanizing Lagos State, we're pushing the water back, we're building, you know, we're reclaiming water bodies. If you're reclaiming water bodies, eventually you can't completely cheat nature. Are we making alternative plans to ensure that the adverse effects, we don't feel the adverse effects, or that we minimize the impact? There have been projections, and with climate change, I know that there are a number of people who do not believe climate change, but we can see the impact.
Temperatures are rising across the world, and solar caps are melting. Lagos is a coastal city. It's basic science. So
that basic science is not so basic to a number of people who still not agree with that. However, we must see that, like you said, temperatures are rising. The hot weather is unusually hot. The cold is cooler. The rains are heavier. And this points to the fact that there's an emergency that needs to be had. And we must jump in on the climate conversation, not just as a country, but as a continent. The role that Africa as a continent has to play, because unfortunately we contribute the least to climate global warming, but we feel the effects the most. So we must start to think of ways to protect and look at ourselves, you know, and look out for ourselves as well, to ensure that we do not end up having to be at the receiving end of the impact of climate change for reasons that we did not actually cause.
And we need to stop the fire brigade approach and be proactive, and also envisage some of these issues that might come up. I mean, Lagos is a coastal state, so the authorities should know better, and this is no excuse for the disruption of lives and, you know, the extra bills citizens have to incur. We need to do better as a people and as a government. Okay, still talking environment. Let's move on to our next conversation. Martin Vincent Ose, I believe that's his name, popularly known as VDM, has tasked his followers, popularly known as Rattles, on a patriotic clean-up nationwide. I guess everybody is in their, you know, environmental feelings these days, which is good. But let's take a listen to what he had to say to his Rattles.
From the 29th of November 2025, which will be on Saturday, we, the Rattle movement, are taking over Nigeria. We are shutting down this country. That being said, we are not shutting it down in terms of violence. We are shutting it down in terms of impact. We are going to start what has never been seen before in Nigeria. We are going to be moving from just being on social media, claiming to be Rattles, to presenting ourselves in real life and impacting, like direct impact in our society. Now, what are we going to be doing? Starting from the 29th, being the Saturday, last Saturday of November, moving on, every Saturday, every last Saturday of every month, we, the Rattles, are going to come out to do community service. We'll be jumping into every gutters, clearing the, what did they call them again? Clearing the sewage. The drainage. We are going to be clearing the drainage. Not just that, we'll go into public schools, we'll clean the public schools, all these places where they are like dirty, where they don't heap dirty for roadside, we'll go there, we'll clear it. In all 36 states, in Abuja, we'll do it in Gwarimpa, we'll do it in Maraba, we'll do it in Nyanya, we'll do it in Kubwa, we'll do it in Lube. All these places that are dirty, we are going to go into them and we are going to clear it up. Now, why are we going to do this? We want to promote patriotism in the hearts of the youth. We are not going to limit the problems of Nigeria solely to the politicians. Yes, the politicians, they do out their own, but we self, when time don't reach up, we say we will need to contribute to make this country great. Now, the day when I get this inspiration for it, now the day when we say, at the Lagos, 3rd Mainland Bridge, person day for 3rd Mainland Bridge, they shit. And people, they pass on. A lot of people see that guy that they pass on. It is because we lack patriotism in Nigeria. We lack patriotism in Africa. Because if to say you love your country enough, if you tell that guy make it stand, make it no shit for there. A lot of times you could pass road. Like I just left Akwa Ibom. On my way to Ibom Resort, you get one place where we say they heap dirty for road. For road, people they pass, nobody get clear out.
The clarion call from the president of the Rattle Nation, Martin Vincent, also. VeryDarkMan saying they're going to embark on a 36-state cleaning exercise and has rallied Nigerian youths to be part of it and to clean and also, imbibe the culture of cleanliness. Like they say, cleanliness is next to godliness. But let's take a listen to what Nigerians, or let's look at what Nigerians are saying in reaction to this call by VeryDarkMan. Sheil says, it's gotten to a point where citizens have to hit the streets and clean the environment ourselves in a country where we pay taxes on everything, for goodness sake. Nice idea though, National Association of Adjusters always redefining the norm. So Sheil is saying that, look, it's not even our business to, haven't you paid for environmental services and cleaning? We pay taxes, the government should step up its game. But as Nigerians, we always adjust. There's a saying that you push a Nigerian to the wall, he will break the wall and it will keep running. So, but he applauds the idea. Let's see if we have other tweets. Dom Frankson says, stop normalizing failure. Citizens shouldn't carry brooms while politicians carry our billions. Yes, keep your surrounding clean. But a national cleanup movement in a country where taxes and all wealth are looted, that's misplaced energy. The real cleanup Nigeria needs is in governance, Dom Frankson.
Well, the next tweet from Vishal Tech Zone says, this is a great initiative. Cleanliness is key to promoting a healthy environment. Let's all come together and support this cause for a cleaner Nigeria. Hashtag patriotism, hashtag clean Nigeria. And do we have any other tweets? Sunrise says, VDM living in a different dimension to all Nigerians. In an ideal world, this would work, but bro, these people have been too much to now work for free. Another angle. Okay.
Ask not what your country can do for you, but what
you can do for your country.
Who said that?
Don't forget the name. But I know they usually start it to be a Martin Luther King or a
Abraham Lincoln.
I've heard a number of people being, but I've forgotten, I'm not. Anyway, the summary of what I was trying to say is, I can understand. I think that it's a great call to
the idea behind
teach citizens or to encourage patriotism. I remember when Fela Durotoye was running for office, we saw a lot of that, a lot of clips of he would be driving and he would see maybe trash on the road and he would stop and pick it up and people would be like, oh, he's doing eye service because he's running for office. But I also recall, and I've shared this story more than once on this platform, where I was at a certain popular restaurant in Lekki, supermarket in Lekki, where at the car park and this very lovely, massive SUV wound down and threw a PET bottle out of the window. And I was parked beside the person. So I went out of my car when they picked up the PET bottle and showed the person like this and shook my head. And then I walked to the trash, showed the person and threw it in the trash. And I had hoped that had communicated the message of embarrassment.
I'm sure it did.
But the truth is that some people, they don't get shame. And it really irks me every time I would see on the road, in vehicles, in the buses, people are eating and flinging things out of the window.
That's where it starts from. So multiply people like that in their thousands and hundreds, then it becomes a problem.
So we need to go back to the roots. When we were much younger, we used to be made to pick trash in school. Remember then, when during break time, or even part of your punishment, they will hit you. They will tell you, go and pick around, you pick the dirt around the whole campus, or the whole school rather. We need to go back to inculcating that culture.
You need to automatically know that throwing out a PET bottle
is a non-negotiable. Like you can't even think about it.
It's embarrassing. You need to have that
we don't have shame.
Dignity and shame.
We don't have shame. I've forgotten which of the sporting events it was that was held, and the Asians right after started picking after them. They stayed back in the stadium.
Yes, the Japanese. Yeah. It happens at the Olympics.
And then they stayed back after to start picking after them. And I said, what a great mindset it would be to get to this point where subconsciously every Nigerian knows that you don't need to throw trash somewhere.
And we also
clean
need
up after
to
yourself.
Seriously penalize open defecation and urinating in public.
I agree.
Men are very guilty of that.
Something they've opened this thing, open car door, come outside,
unsolicited sites that you didn't even plan to see.
That being
everywhere. Some will even face the roadside. It's that terrible.
That being said, we must also ensure that as we're penalizing it, we're also increasing the number of toilets. We need access to public toilets where people can go and use the bathroom, they can go and do their business in there. When there aren't enough public toilets. It's not enough to just say you're penalizing people, because we must recognize that there are people that are homeless.
have to answer
They
the
don't
call of
have,
nature also.
and when nature calls, you must answer. You dare not cut the call.
You must pick up your phone.
You must pick up your phone. So for you to pick up that call, there has to be an avenue that allows you to express that.
And to clean, and also, imbibe the culture of cleanliness. Like they say, cleanliness is next to godliness. But let's take a listen to what Nigerians, or let's look at what Nigerians are saying in reaction to this call by VeryDarkMan. Sheil says, it's gotten to a point where citizens have to hit the streets and clean the environment ourselves. In a country where we pay taxes on everything, for goodness sake. Nice idea though, National Association of Adjusters, always redefining the norm. So Sheil is saying that, look, it's not even our business to, haven't you paid for environmental services and cleaning? We pay taxes, the government should step up its game. But as Nigerians, we always adjust. There's a saying that you push a Nigerian to the wall, he will break the wall and it will keep running. So, but he applauds the idea. Let's see if we have other tweets. Dom Frankson says, stop normalizing failure. Citizens shouldn't carry brooms while politicians carry our billions. Yes, keep your surrounding clean. But a national cleanup movement in a country where taxes and all wealth are looted, that's misplaced energy. The real cleanup Nigeria needs is in governance. Dom Frankson.
Well, the next tweet from Vishal Tech Zone says, this is a great initiative. Cleanliness is key to promoting a healthy environment. Let's all come together and support this cause for a cleaner Nigeria. Hashtag patriotism, hashtag clean Nigeria. And do we have any other tweets? Sunrise says, VDM living in a different dimension to all Nigerians. In an ideal world, this would work, but bro, these people have been too much to now work for free. Another angle. Okay.
Ask not what your country can do for you, but what
you can do for your country.
Who said that?
Don't forget the name. But no, they usually start it to be a Martin Luther King or a
Abraham Lincoln.
I've heard a number of people being, but I've forgotten, Sha. I'm not. Anyway, the summary of what I was trying to say is, I can understand. I think that it's a great call to
the idea behind
teach citizens or to encourage patriotism. I remember when Fela Durotoye was running for office, we saw a lot of that, a lot of clips of he would be driving and he would see maybe trash on the road and he would stop and pick it up and people would be like, oh, he's doing eye service because he's running for office. But I also recall, and I've shared this story more than once on this platform, where I was at a certain popular restaurant in Lekki, supermarket in Lekki, where at the car park and this very lovely, massive SUV wound down and threw a PET bottle out of the window. And I was parked beside the person. So I went out of my car when they picked up the PET bottle and showed the person like this and shook my head. And then I walked to the trash, showed the person and threw it in the trash. And I had hoped that had communicated the message of embarrassment.
I'm sure it did.
But the truth is that some people, they don't get shame. And it really irks me every time I would see on the road, in vehicles, in the buses, people are eating and flinging things out of the
That's
window.
where it starts from. So multiply people like that in their thousands and hundreds, then it becomes a problem.
So we need to go back to the roots. When we were much younger, we used to be made to pick trash in school. Remember then, when during break time, or even part of your punishment, they will hit you. They will tell you, go and pick around, you pick the dirt around the whole campus, or the whole school rather. We need to go back to inculcating that culture.
You need to automatically know that throwing out a PET bottle
is a non-negotiable. Like you can't even think about it.
It's like embarrassing. You need to have that
we don't have shame.
Dignity and shame.
We don't have shame. I've forgotten which of the sporting events it was that was held, and the Asians right after started picking after them. They stayed back in the stadium.
Yes, the Japanese. Yeah. It happens at the Olympics.
And then they stayed back after to start picking after them. And I said, what a great mindset it would be to get to this point where subconsciously every Nigerian knows that you don't need to throw trash somewhere.
And we also
clean
need
up after
to
yourself.
Seriously penalize open defecation and urinating in public.
I agree.
Men are very guilty of that.
Something they've opened this thing, open car door, come outside,
unsolicited sites that you didn't even plan to see.
That being
everywhere. Some will even face the roadside. It's that terrible.
That being said, we must also ensure that as we're penalizing it, we're also increasing the number of toilets. We need access to public toilets where people can go and use the bathroom, they can go and do their business in there. When there aren't enough public toilets. It's not enough to just say you're penalizing people, because we must recognize that there are people that are homeless.
have to answer
they
the
don't
call of
have,
nature also.
And when nature calls, you must answer. You dare not cut the call.
You must pick up your phone.
You must pick up your phone. So for you to pick up that call, there has to be an avenue that allows you to express that. So I agree with the penalization of people who practice open defecation, but I think that we must run it vis-a-vis ensuring that there are adequate toilets, so that when you're arresting somebody, there's a valid reason, because there was a toilet within a certain square kilometers where the person decided to do that very dastardly act, because it is what it is, very terrible act. But that's what I have this morning on Wake Up Conversations.